If you follow the shorts videos that I upload here on YouTube, probably you have seen the driving footage from my large electric ride-on locomotive. And if you compare the footage, I mean, some of the footage that I taken last year or even like June, you probably have noticed that the top was like sort of like unfinished. There wasn't really much sort of decoration besides a couple of wire imitations and the two pantograph on the roof. And that's what I wanted to address. And I had some ideas what I want to put on the top. So this video is just a mishmash of footage of me building those and, some of the things that I captured while I was designing it, testing, and also fabricating some of the parts. I don't have a full end-to-end, videos for every single step because some of the things I just didn't capture, like 3D printing. Some of the other things that I had the cameras in the garden and I was just running back to the garage to do some minor fabrication steps. So it's not a complete walkthrough of what I've done, but at least I think it gives you a good idea of what I was trying to achieve. And I wanted to add 3 small details on the top. So first, I noticed that on really old electric locomotives, like from the 50s or the 60s, they used to have like a walkway on the side, maybe for maintenance purposes, or at least for me it looked like a walkway. So that's something that I wanted to capture. So I created these small like standoffs, 3D printed parts, and I put like a strip of wood on top of it. So some of the locomotives, this is like a mesh, like a grill metal plate, but I think I've seen a couple where it was just like a wood, like sort of like a steps or a walkway. So that's one. The other thing is I wanted to continue these high voltage wires which go from the pantograph to sort of like this middle section of the top of the locomotive. So I wanted that to continue all the way through and maybe add some other details which would suggest that there is like a main circuit breaker or the main switch, which you usually see on the roof details. And also again going back to some of the early locomotives or actually some of like tram locos or narrow gauge locos, sometimes you also see like air tanks on the top of the on the roof or the top of the loco. So that's the other thing I wanted to capture. So I created something from pipes and 3D printed parts and also pieces of wire to look like air tanks and maybe some auxiliary equipment, compressor or something like that. Again, just to make it a little bit interesting. The only thing is a little bit unfortunate about these details is that I have no idea what sort of paints or what type or what color of paints I use for the roof. Maybe I use a different brand which has a different shades of gray and I just couldn't get the same shade of gray. So that detail turned out to be a little bit darker. But I think in some locos the colors don't, they don't really use a uniform color. So I don't think it's such a big issue. As I said, even though it's not a complete end-to-end footage, I thought that since I have all these, shorter videos, I just compile them into this YouTube video. So at least you have an idea of what I was doing and what was the thought process behind, building some of these details. So many weeks has passed. I don't even remember what I was recording the last time, but you know, the loco is not prepped up because I wanted to install, let me give you a little bit closer, the temperature probe, which you can see it is zip tied to the groove of the motor. And yeah, so that's going to measure the temperature. And I have obviously plenty of wire to get this here, and I'm thinking that probably I just barely going to have enough wire to get the sensor or the display here from the other bogie, which is on the other side. So we'll see if this works. But also it gave me a chance to look at the bogie and everything looks good, and I mildly greased the chains as well. Let me get this one, yeah, okay. So I greased the chains, everything is looking okay. And you see the speed sensor with a magnet on the wheel. So yeah, this looks good. And I think I should probably, I just realized that there is one more greasing point here. That plastic, which has a bit of a grease there. And it seems to be looped up, you know, nicely. And I wonder if I can get the shot of that plate. Obviously, there is some wear on the paint, but that's fine. And you see the horn there and the second bogie. So yeah, I should be doing the same activity on the other bogie and probably move on to the current sensor. It took me a little while, but I got the two temperature sensors in. So if I just turn on the main switch, oh, I got the fuse out. So the main switch then, well, you can see it here. I mean, I still need to fabricate some sort of holder for these, but you see the two temperature sensors. There seems to be a, there seems to be a drift about half a degree. Well, I mean, one could be half a degree warmer than the other, but you see the difference. And yeah, you only see these two sensors because the current sensor is not working. Well, it is working. Well, this one is not working because I fried it. So I wired everything in as per the documentation, and if you remember, the documentation said please use a separate power supply. But I said, well, why do you need a separate power supply? Well, for reasons that I still don't understand. It must be some sort of electronics and potential and stuff. But you see the current shunt. I created all these wires. So these are the two sense wires. And I had the two main leads. And basically I powered it up and the magic smoke appeared. So this unit no longer works. I don't know what fried. I thought maybe this voltage regulator fried, but I think it was something inside, because this looks fine. And if I power it up, the backlight is still working, which means that there is power and power regulation, but probably somewhere something inside the chip has gone. I mean, I guess I can, you know, maybe take it apart and service it, or I can buy a new one. But I have no idea how I'm going to, you know, do the separate power supply thing for the device. So I think I'm just going to abandon the idea of measuring the current of the two motors and just call it a day. So probably I'm just going to move on to some of the other decorations that I want to get done, and that would be it for most probably for this year. And you see, you know, I put up these boards, which is the divider for the cabs and whatnot. There are some other details that I want to do on the coach, and there are the other 3D printed details that are here. Some of them are printed, some of them are not. Something is getting 3D printed now. There is one part which is done, it was done a couple of hours ago, so another part is being printed. I still need to prime these, but probably I'm going to spend the next couple of weeks working on that and just going to, you know, not do any more of the electronics. Oh, so look at this beauty. that's going to go on the top of the loco as well. So I thought, well, so I have seen in sort of like older electric locos that they used to have air tanks on the top. So I thought, okay, let's take two PVC pipes. I 3D printed these end caps and these holders as well, some sort of valves or something, and I also just started to design something in Fusion, like which looks like an air compressor. I was just playing around with shapes like, okay, maybe a compressor needs a cylinder or something. It also needs some cooling fans and a couple of pipings and so maybe some wires, and the things are connected together various ways just to make it a little bit more interesting. So yeah, that's it. So it's already primed. So I think I'm just going to overspray with some medium gray, and that will go on the top. And I mean, again, just to make the thing a little bit more interesting. And to be honest, I quite like how the way it looks. Oops. Ooh. I'm not really sure what happened here. I think I haven't used this paint for some time, and this spray started to come here. I guess maybe there was a blockage in the nozzle which got pushed out, and then it created this fuzzy job. But yeah, I think it looks good. It will weather anyway, so I don't mind if it looks a little bit rough. And I just realized that this end cap, the glue gave away. Maybe I was putting too much pressure through that sort of pipe fitting. Unfortunately, I only noticed this when I was painting from this angle. It's like, oh, why is that separated? So I guess that's going to stay like that for now. But other than that, it looks cool. It looks a little bit like steampunk. Probably I might have overdone this bit a little, but anyway, I like it. So I'm still playing around with the layout. I'm trying to figure out how the roof line is going to look like. But so that's the compressor assembly, which I realize is the wrong shade of gray, and I have no idea what gray this is. So I need to figure that out. Probably it's like a medium gray or something. And then there will be some additional stuff here, and I'm thinking that maybe this is going to have a layout like that, and a connection here with these, like main disconnects or something like that. Maybe I can bring this a little bit closer. This can come a little bit closer like that. Maybe a little more spacing here. Something like that. Looks good, I think. And then I have these guys as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. I have 7 for each side. Yep. I think this was more or less the look that I was going for. These strips are a little bit wide, but I can just grind it down. Okay, so I'm going to now I realize that I don't want to mark these. I want to create the railing first and then weld it, and then based on that I'm going to drill the holes, because I would never be able to make it the same dimension as the holes. So this is done, so it has all the 6 holes, and these I need to make the wire first. And I think for these I want to 3D print a jig, because no way I can just align it nicely. So probably I'm going to 3D print a jig which touches this surface, well, ideally this angle, and then I can use it also as a template, because I won't be able to mark these inside holes here. So yeah, I think it's anyway going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult even screwing those inside screws. Not to mention I won't be use the outside screws, because it will just interfere with the sides. So there's no way I can use that. I can't push it. I mean, I can only go this far in. I mean, technically, if I go this far in, like that. Well, I think that clears the. No, I think that clears actually. That actually clears it. So that should work. So I think this is how it's going to look like roughly. So there is one piece which is going to sit on these isolators, and I can just trim the end and then also bend it once I have everything welded up. And there is this piece which is like going this direction, and I plan to have these isolators on here. And I realized that, so the way I've done here as well is there are these M6 nuts which go through there and then get bolted onto the top, and then this is welded on. So I need to weld these points here, and obviously this needs to go on first before I weld it, but I don't know if it's going to melt on the wire as I weld it. So probably I have to like tack it here and then spray it with water to cool it down, and then move these pieces here, and then weld here, cool, move it there, weld it there, and then hopefully it's not going to melt because this is PLA. But that's it. So these two is going to be here, and yeah, I just need to paint them, and that should be all. And of course, these standoffs, but that's a different story. So I should design that mock-up, or yeah, that mock-up for them, so I can, mark each holes exactly perpendicular and parallel to the main, axis of the loco. Okay, so I drilled the holes out for the what is it, compressor assembly. So I'm just going to deburr these holes. And maybe I should do from the inside as well. And what I said yesterday, I created these templates. So there are these sort of standoff for the walkways. So they are going to go here, and I 3D printed these templates so that I can butt against the edge of the roof. And that's exactly the same. I mean, that's, you know, just for, you know, visually checking it. And that's exactly the same with the holes in it, so I can mark and drill them. So yeah, I should mark up the spacing and everything, and I can do the drilling. And again, I think because of these, if I bring it here, so the screw hole, let's just check visually. So, you know, that's the edge of the, so that's 1.5 mil, and the screw hole is there. So that should hit inside the cab, and yeah, you don't see. And I should have a place to screw this in. I just realized that I haven't pressed record, but basically what I've done, I said that the first standoff is going to be 10 centimeters in from the edge, so that gives me 92 centimeters, which I divided to 6 equal parts because I have 7 of these standoffs, and I just use this and they're marked. So I think I'm going to make my first, drill these first 2 holes here and then test fit. Oh yeah, and I have plenty of space for a nut to go here. And let's see, I can see through both holes, so I should be fine. And I hope that is perpendicular to the edge. Yeah, more or less. Okay, so that's how this is going to sit, and I need to find smaller screws because I just have so much space here, and these go in from the underside. But if I show you from the other side, I think we have enough space for all the mounting. Yeah, you can see that. Wait, let me move you in. Yeah, so that's it. There is plenty of space to put a screw in, and yeah, it's probably the same. Oops, it's the same there. Oh, I just missed the wires. Okay, I hope I missed the wires there too as well. Okay, so that should be it. So I can just mark the same spots on the other side and then drill them. So yesterday I was battling with a very severe, I would almost say life-threatening case of man flu. But I managed to get the welder out and then do some of the weldings that I needed to do, but I just feel like getting the camera out. So there is no footage of that, but I'm going to show you how much I managed to accomplish yesterday. So let me take you. Ooh, okay, so stuff here. So that's where the the controllers and everything sits, and I created these two brackets which is going to hold the telecounters. So they are going to sit here. Let me just grab one. So that's one, and it will be mounted like that, and the other one is going to be mounted like that. I think it's going to be funny accessing the screw hose from this side, but probably I just have to find a very short screwdriver. So these parts are done. You just need to get painted. So that was the first one. The second thing is for the top decoration. I have done these. I think you have seen me bending these pieces. So basically now they just get an M6 bolt welded on, and that's where I'm going to put all these. These 3D printed. Not spacers, but isolators, and then I just need to drill this hole, and that's how it will get mounted. The other thing I needed to do is I said that these footrests are very low, so I cut out 20 mil from each of these ends, and I just welded the thing back together. And it was so funny because I cut these things off. So I mounted it on the wagon just to make sure that the alignment is correct, and I held these, the rest of this beam in place, and I just welded on both ends. And I don't know what happened when I started the first end. Everything was fine. I mean, it's an ugly weld, but I'm going to grind it down. And then on the other side, it's all good. But then when I did the other side, the second side, again, it was fine. But then it was completely misaligned on the other. So you can see how much, it's a full 5 mil, so the width of the material. I have no idea, maybe there was so much stress in the material that when I cut, it basically just shrunk, and then I had this misalignment. I mean, not that I can do much about it. There's no way I would be able to bend this out. I mean, it's such a thick material, so there is going to be this ugly kink here. Hopefully nobody's going to notice. So that's the footrest. So it needs to be ground down, and then I'm just going to repaint it with spray paint, and then I can mount the boards back on, and the footrest is going to be okay. I did the alignment, making sure that these bars are vertical by eye. So hopefully they are not, slanted too much, and it's not going to be noticeable. But yeah, that's what it is. Another piece of stuff which is here. So those are those sort of like walkways. You have seen me putting all those small, spacers or those holders on the top. So that's what I'm going to. This is what is going to go on. So this is just 4mm plywood, and I also glued some additional strips just to make sure that there is a little bit more material, so it's a little bit stiffer, and probably it's not going to break that easy. But this needs to be mounted, this needs to be screwed onto those like small pylons or whatever they are called. So, but that's done as well, so it's only basically assembly here. And then probably the last thing is these brake lines that, purely for decorations, so brake not levers, brake valves. So these are 3D printed. I got the first coat on this spray-on Bondo on it, and you see the small studs. So they just need to get painted and then mounted on the wagon. So these are going to be the same stuff as this. So there is this upper part, there is this lower part which only gets held on by a magnet, and I have a piece of rubber hose. I think this is like a fuel hose from a car. And that's how the brake looks like. And
So they are going to go in there to those holes. It's going to be red on red, so I think maybe it's just going to blend in way too much, but originally these are painted red. I mean, this is a different shade of like, I don't know, like a brownish red, so maybe there is going to be some color difference and it's going to stand out, but that's what it is. I mean, I think it's the same even on the prototypical wagon as well, so. And I didn't press record. It wasn't recorded. Anyway, I just painted this red. Yeah, it's done now. Yeah.
I'm glad that the holes actually match up, because I wasn't sure if I can drill these perfectly enough, and I thought I was going to have to fuff around with the bolts and everything. Oops. Oops. Ugh. Okay, anyway, yeah. I think certain parts needs a little bit of persuasion. So, so these two are supposed to go like here. And I think, as I said in a previous video, I could have put this in first before I welded these two studs. But this was completely hot. There was no way that this is not going to just melt. So I think the idea, well, the approach now is that I think I'm going to cut this maybe here. Oh yeah, do I have a pen? I have a red pen for the red. Oh, actually, it works. So I think I'm going to cut it there, and then it will be basically rejoined inside this plastic and just probably sealed by glue. Yeah, there is a little bit of play. Actually, there is way too much play on this one, because I think I drilled this 6 mil, but this is only 5. Yeah, it happens. But yeah, I mean, after that, that's done. Now I can just bend this just to make that this matches this one, and that's going to match up with this. So, oh, so good. Oh, I like it. That's so nice. Okay, let me go back and cut this. So the cut is made. Whee! Loads of lock washers, because I have so many. So and this whole thing has an additional benefit. I I always had a hard time remembering which one to open, but now this becomes a handle. So I think I'm just going to bend this in. Oh, it's easier said than done. Oh, maybe just going to stay like that. Okay, so that's the last piece. And I found this heat shrink tubing which fits over this quite well, and then it also makes snug in here, so that's actually nice. So I think I'm going to do this like that. I can do a little bit of epoxy. We also have to cut this to length, which is, I think I'm going to do a little bit shorter than the two isolators, so it's not going to be visible. I think I'm going to put a little bit on here, not too much, otherwise it's going to just ooze out on the other end. I don't know, probably put some of it here. Okay. A bit more in here. Okay. Oops. And the rest of it, I guess, here. How come I cannot push it any further? Okay. Okay. I have to rotate it in a way that the supports that got printed, which caused the surface to be uneven a little bit, that's facing down, so you're not going to see that. Okay, maybe one more nut. Actually, I want to add this mesh in here, which I need to cut down, and then, ooh, maybe it's going to be a little bit difficult sliding it in since everything is in the way now, but I think I will manage. But this looks good. Feels remarkably solid.
And that's pretty much all the footage I have from this build, which pretty much happened over the summer. So maybe some of them started earlier the year, but I was doing most of the build in the summer. So the loco was ready for end of August when we had the the loco picnic in the Hungarian Locomotive Museum. And probably I'm just going to leave you a couple of more minutes of footage of, sort of like side-by-side driving with the old look and the new look. So you can just, see the difference. But I think that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you in the next one.